There are many secrets in the world, but if there's one thing I love to explore, it's cave paintings. These ancient drawings awaken something deep within many people's subconscious. So in this video, we'll look at a particular example from over 2,000 years ago that caught my attention for several reasons. Stay tuned until the end, and I'll explain, like this video, if you enjoy archaeology. Let's begin. It all begins on Mount Huashan, located near the city of Hualien in China. It is the western mountain of the 5 great mountains of China and has a long history steeped in religious significance. It is a majestic place with peaks that rise to 2,150 meters and is nicknamed the steepest mountain under heaven. As early as the 2nd century BC, there was a Taoist temple known as the Western Peak Sanctuary, located at its base. Taoists believed that the mountain was inhabited by the god of the underworld, and consequently, the temple at its foot was frequently used by spiritual mediums to contact this god and his subordinates. Unlike Taishan, which became a popular pilgrimage site, Huashan, due to the inaccessibility of its summits, received only imperial and local pilgrims, and was not frequently visited by pilgrims from the rest of China. Mount Hua was also an important place for seekers of immortality because many Chinese medicinal plants grew or were cultivated there, and powerful medicines were said to be found there. Numerous famous figures in Chinese history visited Mount Hua. An ancient saying among Chinese scholars has been passed down through generations. If you don't visit Mount Hua, you are not a true hero, and your life is in vain. According to legend, Mount Hua acquired its distinctive shape when the god Shen separated the mountain from the surrounding ranges with a single, powerful blow of his axe. This act displaced the mountain to the other side of the Yellow River, opening a passage for its waters to flow into the sea. The supreme deity of the mountain is Siyue Dadi, who is believed to have the power to bring abundant clouds and rain, promote the growth of all things, bestow blessings, and bring prosperity to the people. The third daughter of this god, Luoyue Sanyang, was renowned for her extraordinary beauty. However, she defied her father's wishes by marrying a mortal. Over the centuries, stories of her amorous adventures evolved, giving rise to tales known as the Legend of Shenxiang and the magic Lotus Lantern. At the summit of the mountain's western peak stands a massive rock formation known as the Axe-Splitting Rock. Standing 100 feet tall and cleanly divided into 3 parts, it occupies a central place in these legends. According to tradition, it was Shenxiang himself who split the rock in a valiant attempt to rescue his mother, thus separating the mountain. Leaving the legends aside, let's talk about the strange findings in this place and why they attract so much attention. Created at least 2,000 years ago, between the 5th century BC and the 2nd century AD, these works have survived in an extremely harsh environment. Temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius in summer, torrential rains, typhoons, and constant humidity. How is it possible that the red pigments remain adhered to the rock without protection or restoration? An international team of researchers has answered this enigma after analyzing fragments that fell from 3 sites: Gaoshan, Daningshan, and Tupingshan. Their findings reveal a technology far more sophisticated than previously thought. The artists used a mortar of lime and blood which, upon reacting with the air, formed calcium carbonate crystals that encapsulated the pigments and fused them to the limestone. This is quite remarkable, considering the scientific knowledge required to achieve such a feat. For decades, archaeologists had speculated about the composition of the paintings. Previous studies suggested that plant saps rich in oxalic acid were used as a binder, but the new work disproves that theory. The researchers took samples of the painted layers and compared them with the bedrock and with natural sediments collected near the cliffs. The difference was striking. While the natural sediments came off easily, the well-preserved paint layers required an electric drill to separate them from the rock. Now, how did they use blood? Let's delve a little deeper. The origin of the blood varied depending on the site. In the 3 samples from Huashan, more than 97% of the proteins came from humans, and the rest from snakes and some herbivores. In Daningshan, the proportion was 61% human and 39% bovine. Where did so much human blood come from? The authors point to a non-violent source: childbirth. The samples detected 2 proteins that are abundant in breast milk and the serum of pregnant women. Therefore, the blood would have come from women giving birth, and the blood collected was from childbirth or the postpartum period. This practice fits with the cultural context of the creators, the Luoyue, a fishing, hunting, gathering people who, according to Chinese historical chronicles, lived in a matrilineal society. The Book of the Later Han describes the Luoyue as lacking concepts of marriage and patrilineal kinship. This did not mean they rejected the concept of forming a family, but rather that the lineage followed the maternal line, and that there was a greater emphasis on female fertility. The researchers rightly linked the use of female blood to a fertility cult, reflected in the paintings themselves, which feature figures with prominent male genitalia, scenes of intercourse, and pregnant women. One of the most novel aspects of the study is the reinterpretation of the effort required. The creators, who lived in small fishing, hunting, gathering communities, didn't have large armies of workers, but they did possess advanced chemical knowledge. All the materials, limestone, shells, clay, bones, blood, were available in the same valley. Lime was obtained by calcining limestone, phosphates from bones or guano, and the red clay is typical of southern China's soil. Preparing the mortar with blood prevented it from decomposing, allowing for the storage of large quantities. Its creators were not only artists, but also intuitive chemists who knew how to harness lime, blood, and clay to forge an almost eternal bond with the rock. I'd love to hear your thoughts on matrilineal civilizations in the comments, and why you think this led them to distance themselves from more traditional Han Chinese concepts. See you in the next mystery. Thank you very much.